Central Ohio's most watched evening news is on your side.
We begin tonight with a clearer look at the trail of destruction left behind by the suspected and confirmed tornadoes across central Ohio today. This is a bird's eye view from the Ohio State Highway Patrol as they help the National Weather Service survey the damage. This specific video showing you the damage at the Madison County Airport. You see at least a plane flipped over, at least one, and one of the hangars now a pile of twisted metal and debris, and some of the other damage to the other hangars. And good evening, I'm Bob Kendrick, live at the outskirts of the airport here on the perimeter. You can see the damage in the background. I want to set the scene here quickly for you because this is important, especially for drivers. This is the national road here, US 40, alongside the airport, and in the distance a little bit to the north there, about a third of a mile away, is I-70. Of course, the two roads parallel each other, and US 40 tonight is closed. ODOT has got it shut down right now between State Route 38 to my east and State Route 56 to my west here, so there's no coming through this area at least for the next 24 hours. And in the background we've got a real battalion of different types of vehicles, emergency vehicles, line crews moving in to help restore power at the airport, those assessing the damage, and even at this point some front-end loaders and bulldozers starting to clear some of the debris and get things repaired over at the airport. That's going to be a process though. And we are still awaiting confirmation that a tornado tore through the area here, but here's a look at the map showing you the confirmed tornadoes in Ohio from the National Weather Service. You see how the tornado's path was right along I-70. One tornado just outside of Dayton, and then in Springfield before hitting Hilliard, and then one in Blacklick along the Franklin and Licking County border. Still awaiting confirmation in the West Jefferson area as well. Now we have team coverage for you tonight, spread out all across these spots in central Ohio. Kate Seifert in Blacklick, Tom Bosco in Springfield, Steve Levine is in Hilliard, and we'll start with Chief Meteorologist Marshall McPeak. Marshall, you're near West Jeff tonight, and before we actually send things over to you, our Mike McCarthy spent the morning in West Jefferson learning about quite the story of survival. We brought you this as breaking news on Good Day Columbus. It was just really compelling material this morning. A husband and a wife rescued from their home. They tell us that they were in their back bedroom and their bed lifted off the ground. They weren't hurt, but they were trapped when their roof and their walls came apart. And here's how Joe Vandriska describes when he realized what was going on.
I looked out through the hallway, and it was covered in 2x4s. I knew I couldn't get out, so I told her, let's go back to bed. Thank God we're alive.
The couple were stuck for about 45 minutes. Wow, very stressful and an emotional day for them. Crews eventually used chainsaws to get them out. Quite a relief for not only the Vandriskas, but also their daughter, who rode out the storm nearby. So they have a long day ahead of them of clearing up.
My mom said that God is testing her today, and I'm just thankful that I still have my parents. That's all I can be thankful for. House is replaceable, that's what I told her. They're not.
Well, Marshall, you're back at the home tonight with the Vandriskas, and how are things looking there now?
You know, what's really kind of amazing is they have an amazing sense of humor about all of this. Joe especially is trying to make the best of what is a very difficult situation with humor. If you take a look right there, you see that window. That is the Vandriska's bedroom, and that's where they were when this storm came through. Now, walk over here just real quick. You see these trees back here in the back of the property. They've been shredded. This was where it looks like this tornado came through and tore those trees to bits. There's also, just over here, there's another shed. If you look just over here on my left, that's where that shed used to be farther back in the yard. Then it came through this yard and directly into the house. And now you can see, well, the kitchen is exposed to the sky. And that's what Joe said. He walked out of the bedroom and he saw that there was sky in the middle of the house, and he said, "You know what? We're going to go back to bed." So they are fine. They are working through everything they can to try to get everything cleaned up, and it's going to be a long process to make that happen. But they are working on it specifically. Much more coming from here near West Jefferson in a few minutes. We will also get to your forecast to let you know what you can expect. It is dramatically colder compared to this morning. This morning, as these storms came through, we were in the 60s. Most of central Ohio is now in the 30s. We'll check details on that coming up in a few minutes. In the meantime, our Kate Seifert checking out some storm damage near Blacklick on the Franklin-Licking County border. Kate, what have you found today?
Well, Marshall, unfortunately, our crew losing service in that neighborhood, which is still without power, but families dealing with a lot of damage, including one family's home completely destroyed. So we're going to get you to that video in just a second. But one thing is for sure, this family is extremely resilient. And although they say what happened to them this morning is a setback, they say God has a plan for them. All day long, Philip Bassham stood here, looking at what was his family's haven.
It's more than just a house. It's become, it's a home.
A home that's now without a roof, without walls and a garage. Philip, a local pastor, is searching for answers.
The fact that everyone is safe and God's provision and grace and all of that came through in a way that I cannot even explain.
Philip, his wife Amber, and their kids in the basement as the storm ripped through.
All of a sudden, this freight train comes, the audible sound of this freight train, and immediately it's like, this is real. And I was raised in Oklahoma, Tornado Alley, but I've never been in a house that has been destroyed like this.
Reality came with daylight.
I am definitely in shock.
Amber, also growing up in a tornado-prone part of the country, she tells me she's grateful she took this Ohio storm seriously.
It is, I'm so grateful. I will never take for granted that God prompted me to go to the basement for real.
Take a look at this. This was the Basshams' garage. It was right in the storm's path, wind pushing their two cars together. Philip, overwhelmed with emotion, telling us he was inside the garage moments before the storm.
And I just broke down. But it's not the stuff. It's literally like, I'm here. And that 3 to 5 minute gap of time where I could have easily been in the garage when this happened, 3 minutes prior.
Jefferson Township officials say no one was hurt in this area, but there are dozens who are here, helping the Basshams pick up the pieces.
Many people I don't even know. They're like, we want to help. How can we help? And it's quite incredible.
So while we were in that neighborhood today, multiple insurance companies reached out to the Bassham family. The Red Cross was there, and they do have places to stay with friends and family tonight. A lot of good Samaritans in that neighborhood were helping this family out today. You're going to hear from them coming up at 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, Governor Mike DeWine is taking a look at some of the damage that is in Clark County today. Here's a look at him there this afternoon in the Springfield area, and that is where we find our Tom Bosco. Tom picks up our team coverage from here. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Kate. Yeah, you're right. The governor was here just a short time ago. In fact, he was touring this house and this neighborhood where there are poles down. And look at this house behind me. It is just about gone. What you can't see is that the entire back end of that house is gone. The roof gone there. We will hear from the homeowner in just a while here. We spent most of our day about 15 minutes away from here in the small village of South Vienna, where folks there are working hard now trying to clean up.
Right now, yeah. Scott Smallwood spent the night in Columbus last night, but when he got back to his home in South Vienna, well, there was less home than when he left.
There's a fair amount of damage in the area. It came very quickly.
He's got some roof damage to the house and his garage and his shed.
My shed sat right here to the south. I don't know. I heard that we had 103 mile an hour sustained winds.
Where's the shed now?
The shed is in the field to the east here.
The Clark County village was in the path of what's likely a tornado, those winds hopping from Springfield, causing a mess here, then moving on to London and then Columbus.
We suffered a major hit.
They blasted Bill Agle's farm. Now parts of his roof are in a tree, across the street, and in his pond.
I had a silo knocked down, 3 grain bins knocked down, machinery shed that was only 3 years old, totally destroyed.
No one here was hurt. Agle says the buildings can all be rebuilt and won't really affect his farming season. Today, Agle has help with cleanup from a handful of friends, neighbors, and folks from church.
Yeah, that's what farm people do. We pitch in and help each other when we have a crisis, so I appreciate that. And thank God I've got this many good friends.
Governor DeWine, while he was here, marveling and amazed at the fact that no one was seriously injured in this incident. He also pointed out that we're coming up about a month and a half away or so from the 50th anniversary of the Xenia outbreak of tornadoes, something that he says that he survived in a building that ended up being demolished. More from the governor later in the newscast. But right now, let's go back out to the Madison County Airport where Bob Kendrick is standing by. Bob, back to you.
Well, of course, Xenia, never far from folks' minds out here, whoever lived through that. Tom, appreciate that. Also, Kate and Marshall here tonight. And our team coverage will continue coming up at 5:30.
Our live coverage continues from just south of West Jefferson. This was the Vondruska's kitchen, and you can see the damage that, well, the entire roof has been lifted out. The deck used to have plenty of room on it. Now they've had to bring the stove all the way out here. They're doing their best to try to clean up. There's not much left of the garage. They were lucky, they say, that they made it out alive this morning, because they were in the house as the tornado came through here, lifted the bed by at least a foot, and then dropped it again. Joe has some colorful language to describe all of that, but we'll get into more of that. Plus, your forecast is coming up in a few minutes.
We're going to send things back now to Chief Meteorologist Marshall McPeak, joining us live from some of the damage in West Jefferson today. He has more on your full forecast. Marshall?
Stacia, it is a dramatic difference between this morning and where we are now, because the temperatures have fallen at least a good 30 degrees during the daytime today. Take a look at this. Downtown right now, we're still at 33 degrees, but we were in the 60s early this morning. That wind out of the west at 24 miles an hour is really creating some wind chills that are problematic. Most of the area in the 30s at this point, and as we go through the night, we're going to drop into the 20s. So it is going to get very cold out here tonight, especially compared to this morning. Look at this. By the time we get to 8 o'clock, we'll be down to below freezing at that point at 30 degrees. But we're seeing some sunshine for now. We'll be partly cloudy through a lot of the night tonight because we still have that high pressure moving in that will move out some of these clouds. So wind gusts are still going to be an issue as we go through the overnight hours and into the early part of tomorrow. Wind gusts of up to 30 miles per hour. And again, that's going to create some of those wind chills. 24 degrees for an overnight low tonight here in Columbus. Wind chills in some places single digits. But the good news is it's going to be a quieter day tomorrow. As we go through the overnight hours, we see some of this clearing beginning to happen. Might see some patchy frost around the area as well, but the wind is going to have a bite to it. First thing in the morning, wind chills in the teens. That's where you're lucky. Some places it's actually going to be more like single digits. So the cold is one of the big stories for tonight. For all the folks trying to get some cleanup done, it's very cold out here. Daytime tomorrow, 36 degrees by noon, but sunshine. We'll get into the lower 40s by the time we get into the later part of the afternoon. So it will still turn into a relatively nice day tomorrow for those places still trying to do some cleanup. Tomorrow, 54 degrees. We're looking at a good chance for some sunshine for the day. 51 on Friday will be mostly cloudy, and we're looking at some showers possible by Friday afternoon. Tomorrow looks good. 41 degrees, 51 on Friday. The weekend looks excellent. We're going to be in the almost 60-degree range by Saturday, and close to 70 by Sunday and Monday. We may get some more storms by early next week. Cleanup is happening. A lot of neighbors have been out here to try to help with some of the cleanup, and they are working on salvaging everything they can from the house. But at this point, a lot of what they're telling us is they're just happy they have each other right now after what they went through this morning.